Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's live Q&A session. My name is Marcy Melzer, and I am an intuitive speech and language pathologist consultant from wavesofcommunication.com. And every week I do these live Q&A sessions to invite parents to ask questions about speech and language development or methods or whatever you have questions about what you might do to help your late talking child. And that's what I'm here for on my live Q&As. If you have started my language facilitation basics course or you're a client who works with me in my face-to-face programs, I'm happy to answer questions that you have while you're working with your language facilitation. And if you have questions about the method or what language facilitation is, I'm happy to answer those questions as well. So while I'm waiting for some people to join in, I wanted to get started and tell you a little bit about my Language Facilitation Basics course, which is just launched. It is now available and live, even though I have set the launch date for June 1st. I scrambled around and got it all done, so it's already live, and you are able to go in and get into it as soon as you purchase it. So if you want to know how to do that, you can go to my website, wavesofcommunication.com, and get going. You and welcome. This is my live Q&A session that I do every Thursday, and it's really kind of the secret sauce bonus on top of my courses for anybody who takes my courses, because you can get extra guidance with me by joining these live Q&As on Thursday. And if you're not in my course, that's okay. I'm happy to answer questions for everybody. That's why I do them here publicly on my Facebook page, so that anybody who has questions about speech and language development or what you should do, I'm being straight with you in the kindest way possible. There's habits going on in your household that have nothing to do with your child's etiology or the root cause of why they're late talking, whatever diagnosis or physical problem or whatever it was that caused them to be late talking. Let's put that aside for a minute and just think about what could be going on in your household that's just causing your child to not want to play with you, not want to learn from you. That doesn't have anything to do with their diagnosis. I promise you, it has to do with habits. And sometimes kids and parents get into habits because of two different reasons. There's one reason, and you're going to learn this in the course, but the first reason that parents get into habits is because of obsessions, okay? And an obsession is something that we do because we want to learn all about it and we want to improve ourselves. So when you think about an obsession, think about Michael Jordan is obsessed about basketball, right? So that's going to be an obsession. And you know it's an obsession and good habits because it causes you to continue to improve. Like, it's not good enough, I want to get better. That's when you know you're obsessed about something. But when you're addicted to something, it also causes habits, right? But an addiction takes you away from improving. And addiction is all surrounding feelings, and it's all about staying in the current feelings. An obsession habit is one that keeps you moving forward, that keeps you excelling and improving, right? But an addiction keeps you feeling like you want to feel like this right now, stuck. An addiction keeps you stuck in the feeling of right now. I just want to keep doing this so that I keep feeling like this. And the problem with addiction surrounding communication in learning is that kids get addicted to a feeling and they forget, like they might have learned something and then they just get addicted in that learning. And it's not learning at all. It's just staying in the feeling. So it's the difference between a child who loves to watch just animated videos and a child who loves to learn, you know, like maybe they love ABCs, right? They're addicted to ABCs. They're obsessed with ABCs. Here's a good example. Child obsessed with ABCs is going to look at ABCs everywhere. They're going to find ABCs and signs they see. They're going to spell things out. They're going to look at the ABCs and the letters in their cereal, on the magnetic ones you have on the fridge. They're going to point out letters. If a child is obsessed with ABCs, they're going to find ABCs everywhere in their world, okay? But a child who is addicted to the ABC song is going to always want to hear the ABC song. They aren't going to like it when you sing it. A child who's addicted to ABC songs on videos is going to be addicted to only ABC songs on videos, usually only animated ones, not even people singing ABC songs. That's an addiction because it keeps you from learning to read, where an obsession with letters and ABCs puts you on the path towards reading and writing and learning all about ABCs, because that's an obsession of what you want to learn. And an addiction is something that keeps you stuck. So I love the ABC song. So if your child loves out ABCs, if they love it, if they're in the habit of ABCs are a daily thing in their life, right, then you're going to be able to know the difference by looking at how does your child engage with ABCs. Do they love ABCs everywhere? And maybe not everywhere, but in a variety of places. Do they spell out things and watch ABC videos and like phonics? Because if they do, you're going to see them. They probably already know how to read, okay? If they're obsessed with ABCs. Kids who are spelling out phonics, they want to learn about phonics, right? But the kids who are stuck in A is for alligator, B is for ball, or the ABC song, those kids are addicted to ABCs and they don't want to learn. They're not learning how to use them, all right? Now, here's how it applies to speech and language and communication. Kids who are obsessed with words, obsessed with saying, obsessed with using words, right? Obsessed with learning new words for things are kids who develop language because they experience ideas in their head, maybe pictures, maybe memories, maybe feelings even, and they are addicted to wanting to communicate those things to people using words. So they're looking, they're always searching. What's the word for this? 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 That's how you're going to know if your child is interested in learning words. They're going to be asking you for the words, or they're going to be waiting for you to say words. They're going to be touching things and waiting for you to say the word for them. That's how you're going to know your child is obsessed with words. But if your child is addicted to using something else for words, right? If they're addicted to, or they're obsessed with nonverbal communication, they are going to continually work to develop more complex nonverbal communication, right? So if a child is addicted to words, they're going to be echolalic. They're going to be saying things like, Old MacDonald, Old MacDonald. They're going to be repeating the things over and over. They're going to be A is for alligator. They're not going to be looking for songs and things all the time. They're going to be stuck in saying words to make them feel good. I liked it when I heard this thing, right? So words for obsession, I want to learn new words all the time. I want to say new words. What is this new word? Think about if you're learning a new language. I want to learn Greek because I'm going to Greece. And you like, what's the Greek word for banana? What's the Greek word for water? You want to learn it, right? But if you are obsessed with words to make you feel good, you get stuck in saying them over and over again, or the feelings about it. I love it when I say, Old MacDonald had a farm, Old MacDonald had a farm, Old MacDonald had a farm, Old MacDonald had a farm. It's predictable, it feels good. I say these things over and over. So if your child is echolalic and saying things over and over and over, they are addicted to words, not obsessed with words. And you have to figure out how to get your child to shift over. And this course teaches you how, okay? Likewise, if your child is obsessed with nonverbal communication and not addicted, I mean, they could be addicted to nonverbal, just stimming for nonverbal communication. They could be stimming for sensory issues, or they could be stemming for verbal communication, like a child who hand flaps. Okay, a child who hand flaps because they're addicted to hand flapping is a child who's flapping hands because of a sensory need. I need to feel this body movement, and that's why, like, subconsciously I do it. But a child who's excited and flapping their hands like this, that's a child who's using that habit because they don't have something else. They don't know what else to use. So they're stuck in this nonverbal communication. And it gets bigger and bigger as kids use it and develop it as a method to communicate. So it might have started with just hand flapping, but then as your child develops nonverbal communication, it gets more and more. So they'll start to take you places. They might even take your finger and put it onto the object that they want. They might even try to move your hand to grab things for them and do this, like take your hand and use you like a grabber. Okay? They get so sophisticated with their nonverbal communication. They're obsessed with it. How can I communicate all of these ideas in my head to my world? How do I do that? I have to figure it out. That's what they're obsessed with, trying to figure out. They make up facial expressions, they make up songs, they make up actions, right? If they're obsessed with nonverbal. So you need to get your child so excited about verbal speech that they get into that and obsessed about learning words. And that's how you do it. That's how you get them wanting to learn words and wanting to develop language, because your child wants to share what's in their head. They want to share their ideas with you, and they just don't know how. Okay, so this is what this course teaches you, and this is just one of the things, like I said, that's just a part of what you need to understand before you can start getting your kid to say words. You have to understand why they're late talking in the first place, what could be blocking your whole situation, what could be blocking that from happening. So yeah. All right, so I see there's a couple questions here. Yakin, who did purchase my course, thanks for joining me. Son will be 3 years old in September. I read books with him every day, and he can say some words in the books, great. But most of the time, he just reads the book and sucks his thumb. Can you provide some specific advice as how to use different ways to facilitate him to talk more? Yeah, so in the course, you're going to be able to see lots of ways to facilitate him to talk more now that you've invested, and the course is live now, so you can go in and check it out. But I'll tell you right here in this situation, whenever you are using books to facilitate language with your child, you need to not be reading the story. You need to start, for a child who's limited verbal, with using the book as a language facilitation tool. So first you have to talk about the book. Talk about what you do with the book. Talk about opening the book. Talk about turning the pages, the front, the back. What's on it? What's the book about? So it's like before you even start to read it, think about a book report in high school. Before you read the book, you think about, why do I read this book in the first place? Why did you choose this book for your child to read? Talk about that. And then, you know, you use your very simple language facilitation talk that you'll learn how to do in the course. And then you'll talk about those things about the pictures. So you're going to talk about the book before you read the story. If your child is just sucking his thumb and looking, or sucking his thumb and looking while you're reading, he's enjoying you reading the story and likes listening to you, but that's not a language facilitation activity. That's an entertainment activity. So in that case, you know, before we had YouTube videos, kids listened to parents read stories over and over and over again. Read it again, read it again, read it again, before we had videos, right? So that's what kids are doing with books. If your child's settled in, sucking his thumb, listening while you're reading, especially your pre-3-year-old, he just is structuring that situation. He's manipulated it so that he has you reading nice stories for him, which is a beautiful thing to do, but it's not facilitating language. It's just entertaining your child. So as long as you understand what it is first, that's great. Now, it's awesome for you to continue to do this, and it's good for your child to listen to you, to read stories to them. But when you facilitate language, you have to start with more simple books, and you have to start with using your language facilitation talk to talk about them first. So that's the best way. All right, and Regina says, my grandson says a lot of gibberish talk. Can say a few single words, all of that's good. Can follow multiple step directions, but does not really talk. Can most most all animal sounds. Will this program help him? Well, the thing is, this program won't help him, but this program will help you, because you will learn in this program exactly how to teach all of those fabulous pre-talking skills that you listed into using words and natural language speech too. So the thing that I'm going to guess from you, Regina, is that if you know that your grandson knows all these things, that he can make them, you're probably prompting him to do those things so that you hear him say it. What does the cow say? What color is this? You know, all those things. And this program teaches you how to stop all that prompting and teach your child the words he needs, so that when you're experiencing life together as a grandma, you're able to do it. So this program is going to be great, Regina, not just for you, because when you get this program, you can share it with your daughter and they can learn too. And your child will learn, this child will learn to communicate with all of you, because you'll all be facilitating language. So that is what's awesome. All right, and Yaokyo says, my son knows and says a lot of ABCs, numbers, animals, and cars. And like I said, it's probably, if you know he says all those things, it probably means that you're prompting him to say them all day long, if you know that he can do it. And that is your blockage. That's what's keeping you up. He has receptive language, so you know he has receptive language because you've been testing it all day long. You're doing what I call the quiz show. And that's when you ask your child to to answer questions and prompt. Think about how many questions you're asking every day. Want to know how to help him communicate with people and not just the first words? You're going to find out in this program and learn exactly how to do it. Yako, I'm so glad that you registered, because you're in a perfect position to teach your child to use all the words they need. Okay, yeah, so the thing is, when you prompt your child all day long to say the words that you know are inside, right? It's a very common strategy. That's what speech therapists do. They prompt kids to say words. And the difference between prompting a child, teaching a child this way, okay? So when you prompt a child to say words, you're just teaching them to rely on you to prompt them. So they learn to wait for you to say, like, what's the, what is the, say the, some kind of an indicator to get them started with it, to get them started talking as a jump starter or whatever, some push to get your child to be able to do it. It's called a prompt, okay? And you can prompt your child in a million different ways. And every time you do prompt them, you teach them to wait until you give them the go-ahead to start to talk. And that's the opposite of the natural language that you're looking for. So that's why you'll learn in my course how to stop that prompting so that the natural flow comes out. I call it, you know, communication energy. It has a whole cycle that it goes. You talk to someone, they respond to you, then they respond back, and you talk, and it keeps going back and forth. It's energy moving like this. That's why we call it waves of communication, because it's all about communication energy. And what happens is your child comes to you to communicate something non-verbally, and you understand what they want, but you stop it. You stop it while they keep going. You know, they're trying to communicate something to you and you understand their message, but instead of keeping the communication flowing, you stop it by saying, okay, I understand what you want, but now you have to say a word too. And then kids don't like it, so they go away. And that's another reason that you'll learn that kids don't like to work with parents. So that's another thing that you learn in this program. And yeah, that's why it's so important. It's really much more, this whole language facilitation process is much more about understanding this whole situation from your child's perspective. Because if it isn't fun, it isn't fun for your child, no matter how old they are. If your child is 2 or if your child is 22. You know, I've had parents reach out to me asking about older kids or even adults, a 22-year-old who is, you know, late talking with autism, an autism diagnosis as an adult, and still doesn't use natural talking. And it's because never in their life was natural language facilitated. They just learned how to use words for a very basic purpose, and they stayed obsessed with their nonverbal ways to communicate, and they never learned a new, more effective way. Because you only give up habits because the new habit is better for you. You have to always decide if you change habits. And if you're stuck in habits of, I communicate by pointing, bringing you, taking things, banging my head, whatever I communicate with, if that's what I'm stuck in as a late talking child, you as a parent must make the alternative seem very interesting to me, because I'm stuck. I like it. It's working for me. It's worked my whole life, no matter how old your child is. And you as parents have to see it from their perspective and encourage them to want to change. It's like asking someone to lose weight or stop smoking or stop drinking soda just because you say it's a good idea for you. Well, nobody's really going to ever want to stop anything they're addicted to unless the new alternative feels good or better. As good or better, right? So you have to make this new verbal language seem like a really good idea. And that's why if it isn't fun, it isn't fun. And so everybody who works with me personally, everybody who talks to me online, they tell me over and over again what their issues are, what their concerns are, what their problems are, what they feel is holding them up. And I show them how to look at it from another perspective. And so that they can realize what's blocking their kids' progress and move forward. And so what this program does, the online version, is it trains you how to do that analysis yourself, how to videotape your situation, video record, I guess we don't tape anymore, video record your situation so that you can look at it objectively. You have to. If you can't, then you have to pay for someone else to do it, right? That's why you pay a professional, is to look at your situation objectively. What's the doctor going to say about me, right? And the thing is, if you're doing the work, then you got to look at your own self and your child and everybody else in your household and the therapy that your child's getting. You have to look at all of it and see where's the blockage, where's the stopping. And when you go through the process that I have laid out in this course, you learn, you go, because just like the parents who work with me, they go, oh, yeah, I'm doing that. I am asking my kid questions all day long. And then I say, well, think about how many times, that's what I have. My question for you, Yako. I wonder, how many questions a day do you ask your child, and who wants to be asked questions all day from their parents? In this modality, language facilitation, you facilitate your child to learn the language they want to learn, not the language you teach them. That's why it's fun. And it only works for kids who want to learn to talk and parents who want to teach their kids to talk. You have to want to, because if you don't want to, it's like, people who want to lose weight, but they don't want to stop eating donuts. I can't help that. You have to do that. You have to help your child. And I promise you, just like people do decide to stop eating donuts and lose weight, or stop drinking soda and lose weight, I'm one of them. I've lost 75 pounds by changing my habits. I know that you can do this as families, because families all over the world are doing it. They are learning what they're doing wrong. They're learning what to do right. And they're doing it, and they're seeing improvement, and their kids are talking. And and it's happening all over the world, and it's happening to parents, and more parents are signing up every day. And here's the deal: this online version is a fraction. It's $3,000. It's $1,500 to get what you get in this course, and you don't even get everything that you get in this course. You don't get the social skills training that you get in the online course. And right now, before June 1st, you can get it for $450. And I can't help but wonder what you could be, if you're watching this video right now, what could you spend $450 on that could get you the strategies and training you need to get your kid talking? I can't think of it. I couldn't provide it. I couldn't provide it face to face. That's why I wrote a course. And I spent a year and a half figuring this out. I started the process to write the course in November of 2017, and it took me this long to figure out how to make it work for everybody. But I think it can, and I believe it can, because these same strategies are working like crazy for parents, and they are solving the problems that the parents who are asking me on this video have. So yeah, if you want to know more, go to my website, click on the link that talks about the online course. You can get right there. There is tons of information, including videos and everything. You can check it all out. And like I said, you can invest in it. And if you decide that you want to work with me later, the investment price rolls into my face-to-face programs, because this training is only going to help you work better with me. So the other bonus about the pre-launch, the early bird bonus, is that you actually get to work with me. And in addition to the independent study, what I'm doing is I'm offering the opportunity for you to sign up for a video analysis, where after you do your analysis and you figure it all out and you write it all down, then you can book a call with me and I can review it for you and tell you exactly if it's right on ball, or if maybe you need to relook at things, and I review it for you, and then we can get on a net meeting for 30 minutes on a computer meeting that you'll have a recording for. And right now you can get that for free if you sign up for my pre-launch. And after June 1st, it's going to cost $555 for that. And you'll get an hour of time instead of a half hour of time. But right now I'm doing it for free because I really want people to do this. If you're concerned about whether you're going to be able to, you know, you really need to figure out that this is the thing. This is what it's going to do. So, all right, so one more D. Basically, you learned words from TV and books. Yep, that's where a lot of kids learned it. I think I didn't intentionally teach him. I bring him to daycare, and the teacher told me he's talking a lot now, but like you said, he's obsessed with ABCs, numbers, and cars. And so that's what he's talking about, ABCs, numbers, and cars, which is great. And now that you know what he's obsessed with, he's going to be able to learn language if you teach him. So here's a question. Good. Got a couple more. Good. All right. Latarsha says, sorry, looking over my glasses. We have a 3.5-year-old triplets, boy, boy, girl. Congratulations. I have a family in my program with triplets. The boys are not yet speaking, and 3.5 years old. I have one that will, when prompted, sorry, I'm just trying to see here. The other doesn't give much eye contact, only babbles in excitement. My hands and arm is used to communicate, so you do this, or he pulled over all over the house. Daughter also communicates for them. So at a loss and feel there's not enough of me to help them start speaking. So Latarsha, rough stuff, but I got to tell you, here's the thing. If there's enough of you to keep them alive, there's enough of you to get them speaking. Because what's great about language facilitation is that you learn how to do it. Now, my suggestion for you, you are welcome to start with my online course. However, considering you have 2 late talkers and you'll need to get put together a plan, it's your plan. It's not 2 different plans for each kid. See, this is something else that's very important to realize about language facilitation and working with me. You as a parent are my client. You are the one who learns how to do this. I train you how to do my program, and you train your kids. I just watch video and tell you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong and how to change what you're doing now to teach them. So the good news is that you've been able to teach your daughter and your other son, who is saying words, how to talk. Somehow it happened. Those kids learned how to do it. Your other child is behind. And this is the same thing that happened with the mom that I have in my program who has triplets. She has one, hers are 3 boys, but one is a talker, no problem at all. The second one was labeling, the third one not saying words at all. Now it's almost a year later, and all 3 are jibber jabbering and talking all day long, using phrases and sentences. So there were different things, blocking each one of her kids. Some of what she was doing as a parent was blocking all of them, but then she had to analyze each one, including her daughter, because like you said, her daughter was talking, she has an older daughter who was talking for all three of them. And so she had to analyze her whole family and realize what the blockages were about all of that. And that's what I did, was I was able to tell her, this is what's going on, this is what's going on, this is what's going on. So then when you figure out what's going on with each child, you as a parent need to have a plan. What strategies am I going to use with each one? And there are some fundamental strategies that you use with everyone. And then you see how they are affected based on the child's individual level. So what's great about this online program is no matter where you are with your child, if you only have one, if your child's pre-verbal, then you'll need that part to move through, but you'll move through more slowly. If your child's already talking, you still need that part to move through, but you'll move through more quickly. And you'll get to the part where, okay, my child's done this. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, this is where I am. Because you always have to start at the beginning and go through the journey to find out where am I in the process. And it's not just a linear thing. It's like a, ooh, because everything like that, everything you develop is all, that's why we call it the waves of communication. So for you, Latarsha, I need to teach you how to change this behavior into, I want that cookie, Mom, or I'd like the blue cup, or, you know, I didn't want the green one, I wanted the blue one. All the things that your kids are saying in their head with this behavior, that's what you need to learn how to do. And my programs all do that. So like I said, what's great about now that I have this online version, even if you do sign up to work with me one-on-one, I have you go through the course because you need to see everything. You need to see, you know, you need to see the whole process. And because I took all the time to put this together, I think that's what's going to be great. So, all right, glad you have hope, because you definitely can do this. And especially if they're 3.5, you know, it is definitely time to figure out what's going on, because 3.5, you're really stuck in these nonverbal communication patterns, and I can see how it can be very frustrating. So it doesn't matter, any child over 18 months, this situation is going to work for, and it doesn't matter how old. As you know, you could have a child in their 20s who has autism and learn how to facilitate more natural language with them. It's just late talking. It doesn't have any time frame. It all happens when it's supposed to. So yeah, now there's options available for you. I hope that you take advantage of them. I did it because the universe guided me to create these things. I know that there's parents who want training to learn how to do this themselves instead of rely on therapists, because I used to be a therapist and I didn't like it. I didn't want parents to rely on me. I wanted to empower them, and that's what I started doing with parent coaching, and that's why this program works so well, because you guys learn how to do it yourselves, and you don't need me. You don't need a therapist. You need to learn it on your own. Okay, everybody, thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate you. Every Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Waves of Communication online Q&A. So if you do sign up for my course, or you're considering whatever, or you want to come back next week and ask again another question if you get started, you can do that. And if you're looking for strategies to get started in one, everything in this course is already over on my YouTube channel. You just have to dig through 150 videos to find it. There's secret sauce in the group, in the course, and it's all organized. It's all put together. The worksheets are there. The strategies are there to enable you. By the time you finish this course, you'll have a whole language facilitation journal, an online file full of information that you can share, in addition to learning to do this yourself, with therapists, teachers, doctors, friends and family, whoever wants to, because you'll create your own plan and you'll have it there in your digital file to be able to share with everybody. I structured that into the course so that you have it, and you'll have access lifelong if you keep joining me here on Waves of Communication on Thursdays. Every Thursday at 2 p.m. you can talk to me live. So yeah, thanks again for joining. Once again, so much going on. I'm very, very excited about these new programs. waveofcommunication.com, everybody. This is Marcy Melzer, intuitive speech and language pathologist, saying good evening, and I'll see you all next week, 2 p.m. Eastern. Bye for now.